GlobeSpan is a Guyanese dialogue moving towards the realization of one nation in one Guyana. It's a platform that offers an all-inclusive discussion with the pros, the cons, the ones that have taken a side, and the ones that stand in the middle. GlobeSpan believes agreeing and disagreeing are part of the nation building. GlobeSpan believes that every Guyanese voice is part of the nation building. As we span the globe for voices from the diaspora and those living home, we stand on our commitment that we are all Guyanese working towards one nation in one Guyana.
This land is our land now.
As the world turns on its axis, bringing changes, we as Guyanese must adapt to those changes for a better Guyana for all. GlobeSpan stands on
our
its
listeners and viewers across the country, including Guyana, the Commonwealth, Latin America, and all around the world. We are coming to you live from New York, and today we have two of the most interesting and important guests. The former mayor of Linden, Mr. Rindell, and the former mayor of Georgetown, Mr. Narain. But before we get to them, I should say his worship on our worship. But before we get to them, I want you all to know that this network is being operated by Mr. Noir Singh, and also our technical directors, Mr. Devin Bissoon and Mr. Ryan Gobin. We are a fair and balanced network, and we can be heard on Facebook, YouTube, and the other social media outlets there. The views expressed tonight are solely those of our guests and not those of the management and staff of GlobeSpan Television. So to all our listeners tuning in, we gladly would like to recognize you and pay our respect to you for listening to us throughout the past 5.5 or 6 years. Thanks again to all of you, and thanks to, as I said, our sponsors as well, because without them, this program cannot be made available at all. So with that said, we will be talking tonight about the socio-political impact that is taking place in Guyana in this election year and what is happening. And I will ask our listeners to give us a prediction of who they think will win this election. So it's a very interesting topic. Stay tuned, and we'll all get through this as good as ever tonight. Thanks again. So let me welcome first the former mayor of Linden, Guyana's second largest city, Miss Monica Arendelle. Ms. Arendelle?
Good evening, Dr. Rose. Good evening, Mayor Ubraj. It is an honor to be here. Let me say congratulations on the years you've been on the air, at least sharing with us and showcasing what leaders and people in our country feel about what's happening. So thank you once again for having me here.
And we'll also introduce to you our mayor, Mr. Yuvraj Nurain. He's also a pandit, and he's in a campaign mood, I think, but he will tell us all about that too. Mr. Narain was the former mayor of Georgetown for, I think, 2 terms, 4 years. And I think he did a reasonably good job with all the obstacles and barriers in his path. So, His Worship, the Mayor, Mr. Narain, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. Good evening to you, all the viewers, and my colleague Arnel. Thank you to have me in your program. It's 5 term. Mayorship in Guyana is one year a term.
So you served 5 years?
5 years.
Wow.
Yes.
I thought, okay. So let me ask you first, Mr. Mayor. You left office how many years ago?
I left office in, I think it was July 2023.
So that's a little over 2 years. What have you been doing since?
Well, before I become mayor or sent to the office of the mayorship of Georgetown, I'm a practicing priest, still a practicing priest. I am the spiritual head of the Mahasabha. And I practice paralegal actually for the past 12 years now. And I'm self-employed myself. I really don't work no one since I leave school. My first job was a mayor job as a public servant.
Okay, that was good. And I think you did a pretty good job in bringing the city back to some sort of semblance of decency. Mayor Rendell, welcome to the program again. And since leaving office, you served 5 terms too, Mr. Rendell?
Ugh,
5 years?
four.
4. So you left in
Yeah.
2022.
I left in the same time, yes.
So what have you been doing since? You're looking
Well,
as bright as ever. You have no pressure, no stress. Oh my gosh.
I know. So I was a teacher before I became the mayor. I have now been able to take a full-time job as a teacher, but my passion has been working with children who has learning disabilities. And so that's where most of my energy, I'm placing that at this time. I'm working with students after school to improve their literacy and numeracy skills. So that's where I am.
Okay. So, Mr. Rendell, tell us about the Linden situation now. Since you left, well, during the time you were there, you were seeing developments. And since you left, have those developments continued, or they've been abated, or they've increased?
You ask the most difficult questions. So what I've seen over the past couple of years, we've had, with me leaving the office, we've had a new town clerk and a new mayor who seem to be unable to come together on the ground. So we've not seen a lot of actions, a lot of movements in terms of projects and activities within the township so far. We have tried to sustain those projects that have been there during my tenure. The home is now actively functioning. The I Love Linden sign, of course, needs some work and development because that's the only green space in Linden. And I am working behind the scenes to play my role in at least maintaining that which I started while in office. But there has been nothing more that I can say on the ground that I have seen. There might have been changes within, but on the ground itself, I have not been able to see any development.
Has Mr. Solomon, the present mayor, ever contacted you on any issues to discuss anything of the past?
Not the mayor himself. I've been in contact with the former deputy mayor and some councillors who would reach out time and time again for any guidance needed, but not the mayor himself.
Mr. Narayan, the same question to you. Have the new mayor, ever reached out to you to ask any questions or to have your views on some issues?
No, Dr. Rose, I can clearly say that no, that the new mayor who served as my deputy for 5 years assumed the office of the mayor, never reached out to me to deal with any matters and so on. And I never intervened neither.
City Hall, they've been rebuilding City Hall. Have you have an idea how far the project is now?
Oh yes, I've been following the building of City Hall because that is one project I fought tooth and nail for when I was in office, and I'm trying to look for those letters to publish it on social media with the back and forth with me and the president dealing with City Hall building, the restoration of City Hall building. I know for a fact it is closely about I will say 75, 80% completed at this point of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
I hope that I can I have the documents, but there's a lot of documents to go through to find those letters to publish online to see the back and forth. So the public must be aware of the history of these things. It is not something that happened overnight. We had a heated argument, both myself and the president, which is Irfan Ali, in his office and exchange letters. And that is how City Hall building is coming very beautiful, sharp, and we will have that restored very soon in the city of Georgetown, the capital of Guyana.
Mr. Mayor, when you were there, you made every effort to clean up the city and also the La Pintura cemetery. But I happened to pass there last weekend. I think it was more so on Thursday. And that cemetery is a forest. Is the city responsible, or who is responsible for cleaning up the city? I should ask that question.
Um,
Clean up the
well,
cemetery.
well, Dr. Rose, yes, the city is the sole um, custodian of that cemetery. And when I was in office, if you've noticed, and I do have pictures, we have clear, I believe it's 2 blocks. And that cemetery, there's a lot of money and infrastructure work need to be done on that cemetery. And I believe that with government help, like I always make mention of this, that cemetery can able to develop in a proper way. However, I must say and must compliment the former member of parliament since parliament dissolved, Walter Lawrence, who took a motion to parliament before the parliament suspend or dissolve, and that motion was passed by both government and opposition voted for. And that report that motion came from was a report done in during my tenure and by the now acting deputy city engineer Kabila Hollingsworth. And that report and that study give you a way how you can develop the infrastructure work and keep that cemetery clear and clean. And I hope that the government act upon it. I see they started making the roads and all of these things, but culvert is necessary. Barricade, or which a common term we call it here, piling off of the trench and the drains and so on, is necessary for that cemetery. The cemetery is a very a place that where we put our loved ones, and it should be clean and clear at all time. But the city council does not have the money to move forward with that development, and that's why that study was done in my tenure, and the motion was carried to parliament.
But sometimes, as mayor and leaders of a country or society in general, we have to be a bit creative, though. If the city don't have the money, and the city put out a call to private investors, corporations, and companies and so forth to help, don't you think they'll get a positive response, Mr. Mayor?
That was done during my tenure as well, where you have seen the city much cleaner from now. I don't know what is happening at City Hall myself, and I'm very curious to know what is happening at City Hall. And as a former mayor and concerned citizen of the city, that the city have moved to a state where I cannot believe that we are going back there. I don't know if the money from the government, they're not giving the money, the revenue base of the city. I can't really say, but it's going back to a terrible condition. And I can clearly say this tonight that I run the city as an opposition mayor, and it was able to manage properly with NIS Credit Union, and the city was up to date in not 100%, but much more cleaner. In fact, a reporter met me at a function and said, Mr. Mayor, um, this city was far away much cleaner when you were mayor. I said, well, I take the compliment, but I can't really say what is happening at City Council at this point of time in terms of leadership, in terms of financing, and because I haven't seen any press conference, any press release, I haven't seen those things. The mayor and the councillors need to be active more. And I say this without any apology at this point of time. I have a conscience, and I am saying that.
Mayor Rendell, during your tenure there, you have worked very closely with this government to advance the interests and development of the people of Linden. And from my understanding, you took some flack for that from your own party and so forth, or whatever you want to call that. why you took that approach? I know you said you put in people's interests first, but you took that knowing the circumstances you were going to be faced within your own party structure.
I think the first thing we need to understand is the background from which I came. I am and will always be a member of the body of Christ. I have utmost respect for leaders and those who are in authority when they get to that seat. My fight is how they get to that seat. But once a decision has been made and leaders have been elected, those leaders are entitled to serve us, the people, not just those who voted them in, but everyone. And so that was my approach. When I started, I was with we started, we were on the APNU AFC and we worked with them. When the government changed, we started to work in the opposition. And I took the same approach. If you are the leader of this country, you have a responsibility to provide services to the people of this country. And that's how I work. I was respectful at all times. I sent letters where letters need to be sent. I made public statements where public statements needed to be made. And I was able to get some sort of work done on the ground. So it had nothing to do with whether it was a political affiliation, but more of the fact that you are the leaders of Guyana at this time and you're entitled to serve us.
Now, is that collaboration continuing though? Do you know? Between the present mayor and the government?
I cannot say. I have not seen it working at all. There's a lot of infighting because there's no PPP town clerk. And I do know that there's little collaboration. There's a lot of back and forth and persons holding back on this and holding back on that. So it's not working as smoothly as it should. And if I must say, I keep saying that both parties need to understand, because everybody is Lindeners, the role of taking those seats in local government is to develop your community. And it has nothing to do with, I think that's one of the things that I got from President Granger when we were first sworn in. He said, when you go back, you are elected to serve your people, serve your people. And so regardless of political affiliation, the two persons managing that council need to serve the people of Linden, because if Linden rises, then they rise. If Linden fall, they fall with it.
Now, tell me something, Ms. Rendell. Tell our listeners how a town clerk is being appointed.
The town clerk's appointment, Mayor Ubraj might be able to help me more in this. The town clerk's appointment is supposed to be done via recommendation of the council. Mayor Ryan, they're supposed to have applications come in, all those applications vetted through the council, and a recommendation sent to the local government commission. And then a collaboration for interviews with the persons before a selection is made.
Correct.
Has that been done, Mayor Rendell?
In Linden, no.
Mayor Umbraj, Narayan, has that
No,
been done in Georgetown?
not at all. No, Dr. Rose and viewers, no. The town clerk appointed at City Council. He worked with me and he's still there. And that appointment is null and void, where the commission directly appointed that person without the consultation of the legal elected council. And that is null and void, and that is absurd of authority, and it disrespect to whether the town or the city, the population within that kind of district.
Have you attempted to take
do
them to
believe
court?
Oh yes, we did take them, took the local
Georgetown
government
Court.
in court. We had a back and forth with the court, and they had to go back. The local government commission had to go back now and rectify their appointment, and still did not involve the council. And they did the letter, send it off, and that was it. The election happened to call. I happened to exit. The new council took over. I don't know what happened after there.
Did the Granger administration follow the procedure both you and Mr. Rendell described?
I can clearly say yes. When Mortimer Mingo was the chairman of local government commission, I met with him and team and we had discussion, and not only solved discussion, I can tell you heated discussion, where the appointment of public officers to serve the city council ought to come through a channel. Subsequently to that, the local government commission assigned via letter to the council to employ certain level of people, and only certain level will go to them. And that stipulated in the act of the local government commission, where the commission can able to give that authority to the council to employ a level of employees, and the senior levels will go for rectification to the local government commission. That transaction or transition, whatever you want to may call it, was a smooth one that benefit not the council alone, but the people of the city, because we have seen the officers' performance, and that is how the people will benefit in the city. For example, let me give you quickly. I was told by a senior officer 3 days ago, called me and said, look, this is what happened in the engineer department. You have a deputy acting, but the engineer himself gone off on leave. But the local government commission said, well, look, the deputy wouldn't act while the council made the recommendation. The deputy must act in that position of the engineer now, since he gone off. The council made that decision, and the local government commission took it on themselves to appoint a lower staff as the head of the city engineer to occupy the office of the city engineer, while the deputy is still there as deputy. Can you understand the nonsense is happening in the municipalities, right? All because of control, all because of politics. And I agree with Arndell. Same thing I did. Serve your people. And I did that without fear and favor. I serve and I deliver in whatever capacity I can. So that is happening and continue to happen at this point of time. A local government commission is not in place for over 1 year. Over 1 year now. Who acted? The secretary of the local government commission, I'm calling Mr. Price. He has no authority to act upon himself. No power in the act. Give him power to act without a commission. The minister cannot direct the secretariat of the local government commission, right? But the PPP government took this on themselves to manipulate and fabricate and go with all these illegal and unlawful appointment to municipalities and NDCs through the local government commission at this point of time.
Mr. Rendell, did the APNU, led by Mr. Granger, follow the procedure to appoint a town clerk at Linden?
At Linden, no. The procedure was not followed for the town clerk at Linden. The staff below, yes, but the town clerk was given to us, even though we had our resignation against, based on qualifications. So for that's the town clerk that's now gone, and then the new town clerk is now in. So that wasn't followed. The other processes were followed. I want to piggyback off of what Mayor Ryan says. My fear is that laws are always in place, that whichever government sits has a tendency to sidestep the law based on how they feel. And I believe our oppositions need to be active. My fear is that we have an opposition that is quiet on issues. Local governance is important. And if we continue to stymie local government, it means that the country will now become kind of nationalized, for the use of a better word. It means that our local organs are now being managed by the government, which means that our local leaders no longer have a voice. And my issue is, for 5 years, we have not seen our opposition fight for the return of a local government organ that they put in. It was under the Granger administration that the local government commission was reintroduced, if it was there before, and it was functioning well until the end. And that's something that we should have fought for, because now we're at the end of another tenure of a government, And my fear is we're going to see the decline in local government organs because the government is now making those decisions and there's nobody fighting for us on that end. And I say that also in terms of what's going to happen in Linden, in terms of the amount of money that the government will now have to interject into the municipality for it to be sustained with the removal of that bridge. It therefore means if I'm the one interjecting money into your organization, I automatically become the head and the leader and the decision maker. So our oppositions have got to do better. If you are opposing, and we really need to move the word opposition, maybe put minority government, that they understand they are there to help lead. If things are falling apart, they're the ones who got to get up and shout. Mayor Narayan and I shouting from this podium has no grand power. We elected people to stand there, and they should stand and they should fight for our local organs.
Tell me something about the situation in Linden. How is the marketplaces? There was always some problems with the market vendors and the town clerk and the city and so forth. Has that problem been resolved?
Market is an issue that may never be resolved, but has to be managed. The price paid at the market is far too low for the municipality to be able to sustain it in terms of repairs and in terms of repairing, in terms of ensuring that garbage collection is done in a timely manner. Those are always going to be consistent problems because they do not have the finances to manage the market well, but they have to manage the market. So I don't know that that problem is ever going to go away.
Last night, it was last night or the night before, President Ali, the PP was campaigning in Linden, and they said that they will reduce electricity by 50%, which I think everybody deserves that break indeed. How is that? That will definitely help Lindeners, especially pensioners. How do people responding to that?
I am laughing because it's funny to me. One, I don't know how people are responding. I have been in my house all day. I'm now hearing this announcement. It is funny to me because if 5 years ago, sorry, not 5 years ago, in 2012, we went to a bridge where 3 men were shot because they were going to raise the price for that electricity. That caused an uproar for months in Linden. Then we settled down and there have been, on the persons might not have known, there have been little rising in the electricity bill over the couple of years. So for a government who fought us to raise a bill, now saying to us in the final month of them walking out of office that they will give us 50% cut off when they get back, and if they get back, kind of sounds funny to me. Really sounds funny to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Linden pays the lowest bill, between, let's give ourselves $5,000 to $10,000 for homeowners, if that much. And then for businesses, maybe between 20 to 30, I don't know. This is me calling figures out of the air. So to say to us once, when you wanted to raise that now, because there's an election and to make Lindeners vote for you, going to give us 50%, I ain't sure to swallowing the pill, but hey, I don't know how the people feel on the ground. Maybe there are some people who are rejoicing, but that's something maybe they're saying, if you vote us, wait and see. But I don't know what's happening. That doesn't sound realistic to me because it just does not sound realistic. It sounds like a promise that may never be fulfilled.
We have the two political parties, the PPC and the People's National Congress Reform, or APNU. And now we have WIN. I think it's We Invest in National by Mr. Mohammed. Those three parties have graced Linden. Have you been to any one of those rallies or meetings or anything of the sort?
I have not. I've been to Amanza's meet and greet, but I have not been to any other. I don't think Mohammed has had his meeting as yet. I think that's slated for the 27th. I know PPP was here last evening. I would never be seen there. And I do not have the date for APNU.
I think it's Sunday coming.
This Sunday, okay.
So you should have your ears on the ground. How you think Lindeners will Who do you think they will support most in this election? We know they all supported PNC or
Linden
APNU.
is predominantly PNC. Linden is predominantly PNC, and we have proven that over the years. I have seen a great dip towards Win, but I have not seen any generalized meeting spaces yet. But Amanza does have attraction with the young people and the educated population because she also is a Lindener. So there has been some turning tides in Linden. There has been some turning tides towards the new parties. And so it's really going to have to, Linden's going to be some votes. We're going to wait to see what that count looks like. Because I think we're losing ground. As a party, we are losing ground in Linden. And
You're
we've
losing
got to do
ground,
better.
PNC is losing ground to the other parties.
Yes, I do believe that's what's happening.
Mayor Narayan, can you say the same for Georgetown? Is the PNC losing ground in Georgetown? In
Well,
region?
so
Well, not region
far,
purpose, because we know the East Coast and the East Bank, those are in different areas, but in Georgetown of itself, central.
so far you have a mixed emotion with people in Georgetown because only which day I went to the took a boat to go over the river and coming over here, heard people talking. So some people talking about Win, some people talking about APNU, and you have people also talking about the PPP. But it's a mixed emotion, and I hope as the leaders for political party, they roll out their manifesto plan and what they want gonna do for this country. That is how people gonna think and vote when that day come. There are many undecided voters, and I believe on the campaign trail, I have seen that the APNU have made a big statement in New Amsterdam where they will reserve 20% of our oil resource money, and that will retain as a savings for the Guyanese people and probably will build interest and so on. That is fantastic. And I have saw that the leader of the APNU, Mr. Aubrey Norton, had made commitment to deal with young people to raise the fee, not a fee, a stipend to young people who are going to UG. For example, you have the nursing students who only getting $16,000 or $15,000 for a month, and they have to come from the interior. They have to come from different place. They have to be 24 hours in a hospital and training and so on. So all $16,000 can't be enough for someone to live on and go to school. And so Aubrey, the leader of AP and Aubrey Norton, had made a pledge that it will be $50,000 as long you're studying, going to UG and so on. Those are fantastic ideas which the PPP failed to do in 5 years, which they failed to do in 5 years. And if you permit me, Dr. Rose, let me make mention of this. I was going through the the depth of Guyana, and it mounted up to 3 billion US dollars in depth from 2020 to 2025, and I have all documented, each and every one documented here. 3 billion US dollars in debt, in loans from the from the China, from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom, IDB, CDB, and the World Bank. Over 3 billion US dollars in loan without any transparency, poor infrastructure planning, healthcare and education still struggling in this country, taxpayers left to foot bill in this nation. And the PPP now saying all of these things, which they had 5 years to fix it. Because of an election, I don't believe the young people are that stupid. I don't believe our Guyanese are stupid people. They're very well educated people. They have common sense and they will make the right decision 1st of September 2025. But on your mic, Dr. Rose.
Yes, Mr. Rendell, tell us about the hospitals at Linden. Are they well staffed with nurses, doctors, and other medical personnel with medication? Equipments are running well?
I think you're trying to put me in the public. I have not been around out there at much.
You live in Linden, you were the
I
former.
know, but do you believe that after 3 years, after 7 years in politics, I really took a dive into just relaxing. But I have been in some connection. The hospitals are functioning. We're functioning. There have not been any major developments over the past year or so. So the same things we've had before, they're still there. I know we still have the nurses and so leaving as they're doing throughout the entire country, but there have been no issues that I've heard on the ground so far. So I guess it's functioning the best it could, but I can't give much to that at all.
The schools, they're functioning well too?
Education is education as we go. I have issues with the education. So if we go into that, this might take us all night. The schools are functioning. I know they've been, the PPP has talked about the cash grant in which they're giving to the schools to aid those schools in functioning. What we see on the ground and what's actually happening in the schools are two different scenarios. But there has been consistent flow of schools throughout the past term, the term pass. There have been no major issues. They need to put some more interjection into the schools in terms of technology, in terms of these computer science rooms, and in terms of making our rooms AI friendly. This is the 21st century. The children, this book and pen is not going to work as much. So outside of that, I do not see many issues that I can place as physical. My issue with the education system generally is that we have introduced a new program. I don't know how many persons are aware of it, and that program is introduced at the schools that we term lower level schools. That program, I believe, is anti-development, and it's not going to work for our children. It's not making our children any brighter. It's called the CCSLC program, which is only teaching the children 4 core subjects for 2 years to 3 years. And then those children are pushed into a CSEC realm. It's not going to work out. It's not effective. It's not efficient. And again, Dr. Rose, my problem is, where is the opposition? How do these projects pass and nobody from the opposition? Who was the minister shadowing education? That these things slip by, nobody talked about it, nobody threw it out there. When we were in the class, when we were to put it to the parents are meeting us as the teachers when it was already approved and passed. And so while I keep saying, while we are fighting on the ground, the opposition need to be fighting where they should have been fighting. And these projects should not have been passed and been implemented in our system without the opposition coming to its people and saying, this is what's happening, how do you feel? Right? So I could fight it here, I could get angry here, but it's a program pass that I have to teach, but it's not an effective and efficient program that is going to develop our children at all. Especially, we know that those children are not going to the top tier schools who are continuing to do the same subjects offered, but now in the low tier, we're cutting the program down. And when it comes to CSEC, our children have to write the same exam as the top tier schools. They're not exempted from those exams. They're not given special leverage or points in those exams. So we're failing our children miserably. And I blame both the government and the opposition for that. Sorry. I'm very emotional about education. I do apologize.
That's okay. You don't have to apologize. Mr. Mayor Narayan, Miss Amanda Walter Desir has left the PNC party. Mr. Gita Chandan, Jermaine Figueroa, and the former General Secretary, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Why do you think they've left the PNC, Mr. Narayan?
Dr. Rose, this is an election campaign in mood at this point of time. Look, the politics
By the way, you
generally
know I'm talking about the former General Secretary. What's her name?
Gita Chandan,
No, the one that replaced the Gita Chandan. She's Amerindian.
Don Hastings.
Don Hastings.
Good. Let me say this much, Dr. Rose. In any political party, you will have challenges.
Right.
You will have internal fight. Let us not get away from that. PPP, they have it. The PNC have it. Any political party will have internal fights. The fight or the challenges will come in the PNC when it is Congress. And we saw what happened the last Congress and previous Congress that held in the People's National Congress reform. However, after Congress, you have to unite and rally behind the leadership of the party, because that is a democratic process and procedure within the party, and that's what makes a democracy. Democracy is not only in the country, but it is within the political party that runs for the office of president and the ministers and so on. So when we at Congress level, it's a different level. But when Congress finish, we have to put our shoulders to the wheel and we move forward. And I have said this before, I supported Royce Ford in the last Congress. We all pulled away, but the media did brace me at a point, and I said very clear that we all have to put our shoulders to the wheel and support our leader who is elected by the membership of the party, Aubrey Norton, and I am here supporting the leader. Congress come and gone a long time. Besides coming to the point, I can't say why Don Hastings, Gita, and Jorman Firigo, I can't remember his name clearly, left the party. I don't know if they have a personal issue. I don't know what is the issue really. But my issue, who left the party, I have not seen. They have worked like they're working now with the PPP. That I haven't seen for 5 years.
Well, Mr. Figueroa gone with the PPP. Mr. Amanda Walton, that's his former own party. Don Hastings gone with WIN. So it's only one, I think, or two went with the PPP.
Right, but still, let us put it there. If those members, and I don't want to get personal with any of the member who left, I'm talking general here. If they have put in the work, whether you and the leader got an issue or what, in your constituents, get up and get with your party groups and go out there and do your duty as a member of parliament, as a member of this party. Things should have been different, and different things should have approached you. But people tends to criticize. People tends to have their own personal view, personal feelings. But my point at this time here is that I will stick with my leader. I will rally behind him, win, lose, or draw. I will be with the People's National Congress reform. That is where I belong, and that is where I will stand because of the policies that Mr. Norton put out there. I will be at his side. That do not stop me in the future, and I said it boldly in an editorial, to support a next political party of their vision and their policy. But I see the APNU policies and the vision of APNU at this point of time is very clear from the cradle to tomb, right? The policy that put in place by Mr. Norton and team can't comprehend any other political party at this point of time. I can't see their non-political party who put out such a policy that Mr. Norton put out at this point of time. The PPP at the rally, whatever APNU have said, they're going and put it in different words and telling the people out there. For the electricity part, we're forced to put out such. They gone and said it differently in Region 1 the next day, and now in Linden yesterday, right? That was already there from the APNU. So at this point of time, we are in an election campaign mood, and we in the APNU coalition will do all it takes to win this election.
When will be the next Congress for the PNCR? Do you know?
I believe that will be either next year or the other year. I believe it's the other year because Congress was recently.
Do you intend to run for any executive position?
Well, Dr. Rose, I always make mention position is not matter for me. You know? If the members find me fit and nominate me for a position, I will so accept. But to run holistic for a position that I have no interest in those things.
Okay. Mr. Rendell, will you seek any, are you solidify your membership with the PNCR? Mr. Rendell?
I'm not certain how I'm answering that question.
Pardon me?
I'm
What
not
is
certain
that?
how I'm answering that question.
Will you seek any executive position in the next Congress?
Oh, absolutely not. No. I do not want to be actively involved in politics anymore.
You don't want to get
Not
involved in politics
interested.
anymore?
Not
If the people
interested.
call
Maybe
upon you,
give me 2 years to maybe shake it off no, but no, right now, no.
but if the people call upon you and pressure you, would you accept?
No. I have find that people will call people to do because those people don't want to do, and then they'll beat you if you don't do what they think you should have done. So no, it doesn't matter who call until I get this urge in my heart to do, I will not be actively involved in politics.
On a score of 1 to 10, how do you think the opposition has performed in the past 2-3 years?
My personal
10 being the highest.
I feel like a 5. But
A
this is
5.
me that may be being very harsh. I just felt there are some matters that's slight under that we did not catch, and we did not remain active. We did not remain active in terms of watching the PPP, in terms of making sure we highlighted the PPP, what they were doing and how they were doing it. I find that we depended too much on overseas influencers who were kind of waking us up over here as to what was actually happening, and we weren't working on the ground. I just felt we didn't do as much as we should have to educate our people. An educated population will vote better than one that's not educated. That's just, my personal
But
feeling.
you're still a PNC, am I right? Member of the PNCR.
But I'm going to be supporting Amanzo on this one.
But you'll will remain in the PNCR though. You have not, in other words, you have not left the party.
I've not left the party. I just felt that at this time, Amanzo was giving me more of what I felt we lost in those years, and I really wanted to give her my backing. I have not left the party. I don't do.
Supporting Amanzo. Okay.
I am.
Can you outline some of our policies?
At this point, no. I did not read anything. I did not look up on anything. So I really don't want to give my mouth too much liberty.
So you just isolate yourself from politics.
I am telling you, I do apologize. I have really isolated myself from politics. Politics had, for the past 7 years, had given me some beating that I did not want to be involved in, and so I'd really isolated myself from it. I wanted to take a break from it. So that's why I cannot give you much. I am now, when Amanza decided that she would go alone, I did talk with her in terms of what was really was her idea, in terms of how much she really thought she can give back to the people of our country. And while she's building that manifesto in terms of what she can and cannot do, I thought that this is where I would put my support. And that support is from way behind the scenes. I am not going to be actively involved at no point in time.
If the PAPC should win the election,
Oh my
what would you
God.
like to see them do for Lindeners and the people of Linden?
The first thing is economic development. And I'll give you what's happening. The bridge was one of the main economic, one of what I would say one of the biggest businesses in Linden. It supported the municipality, it paid 50% of the staff, it employed staff at the bridge, and it sustained itself. Removing that for me means a breakdown in local government. And it means that government will now be interjecting their finances to support the municipality, which makes the municipality no longer local, but national. I believe that whether, and I want to make sure people don't think I'm against reduction or free toll. I had referenced to the PNC while being mayor that we should have done something called, it's done in other countries, I think it's done in the United States, where vehicles registered will be registered within the township or the region for which it, where that person lives. And so when we talk about putting back money in the hands of the people, it would have been those persons registered in Linden, those vehicles registered in Linden would have been able to utilize that toll for that bridge for free. And so those who were not residents of Linden would pay a small toll. Removing that toll totally for me really does bring down, does give a decline to municipality. However, what can sustain that is the government ensuring, and that's whichever government takes this seat, that government ensures that we are able to reevaluate our homes and our communities and hand those homes and communities to the municipality. If we do that, and then we reevaluate rates and taxes on homes and businesses, we could again lift the standard of living and the standard of the municipality back to being local, because I do believe the households in Linden and the businesses in Linden paying their rates and taxes can support the municipality and can support the development of the township. So that I expect to see. I'm angry that the bridge took 2 administrations, and PPP was what, 23 years before Narayan? Was it 23 years before, then 4 or 5 for us? All
Right,
this
yeah.
year to wake up and say, hey, a double lane bridge was needed in Linden. So this bridge that we're taking forever to build is no pattern, no administration back. It's long overdue, and the people of Linden deserve it. So you don't get kudos for saying you're going to build a bridge at the end of another 5-year term, which is 28 years. That is not going to happen. The synthetic track should have been completed. To have not completed now is folly, and so that is what they should do. The other thing that they need to do is create open spaces. I've seen everybody talking about open spaces. 23 years plus 5, and Linden has a little tiny space that can't hold 50 people inside without us crowding each other. They need to give Linden open spaces are very important for social and mental health. So we need to have our open spaces. We need to have more open spaces. And what we have seen over the years under the leadership of the PP is removal of our sporting facilities. We've had the sports club ground, which housed football and track and field, now has been transferred to cricket, which I don't know that we play cricket in Linden. I think that is a disrespect. That ground should be returned and we should play. And I know when the plans for that ground came out, they said to us it would be a multi-sporting facility. And they showed us a plan for that. That's not the plan that's on the ground. We need that. We need that back. We need to have open spaces and sports for grounds in every community. We don't have that. A lot of those grounds have been removed and housing has taken its place. The other thing that I think needs to be done is proper planning for housing schemes. We have housing schemes developed in the community, and all they have is houses. They don't have a space for open place. They don't have a space for burial. They just have houses. And so we need to be able to develop our tongue in a better way. We need to have industries. I do see our Centennial Park, which should have housed the history of Linden and Region 10, has now been transferred, at least a portion of it has been transferred to agro-processing. So I'm hoping that is going to be an opportunity to bring jobs and diversity in jobs within the Linden community. Our roads, while we're getting roads at a fast and a rapid rate, those roads are going to decline at the same rapid rate. And while I want to blame the administration, I also want to blame the contractors on the ground because Lindeners are building these roads. They should do better. It's their road. But these fast track roads that are happening needs to stop, and we need to have a plan on how we are going to do what we're going to do, because longevity and sustainability is important. Otherwise, we're going to be spending monies over and over again, taxpayers' dollars, to repair things that should have been done properly in the first place. So I do believe that, and this is regardless of who wins the election, it's time somebody looks at Linden. And it's time Lindeners ensure that we are looked at. Right? These little find money in your hand every now and again is not sustainable. Don't give us a fish, teach us how to fish. Let's have interjection in job opportunities and creation of businesses within Linden.
Let me put you on the spot. APNU was there for
God.
5 years. The PP is now there for 5 years. Who contributed more to Linden? Which party?
I'm going to take this from another angle. PPP was there for 23 years. APNU came in for 5 years. It is difficult to take over from someone who has made and who has embedded themselves into something, because you needed those years to reevaluate what was happening before you can change. I think it's unfair to judge APNU against PPP. It is very unfair. And I think us as Africans, we judged our people too harsh. In 5 years, we could not have made that magnificent change because we had to go back, we had to reevaluate, and then we had to find what was the best angle to deal with issues. So I'll say nobody did. For me, I'd say PPP did the worst because they had the longest time to concrete themselves and to do. And I think APNU tried their best. They didn't have the amount of time they needed to make the investment they needed. But I'll say this to you, they started that bridge project that PPP didn't start for 23 years. They started the synthetic track that PPP didn't start, while Linden was winning over 7 years in sports in this country. And they started a plan for that sports club ground that should have been a multi-sporting facility and not a cricket field. So we cannot judge them equally because they were not given the same length of time to do what they should have done.
Mr. Mayor Narayan, I have a question for you, and it's a judgment call, a judgment question. Let me say this to our folks. Folks, you're asking me you're sending me a lot of questions here, but in fairness to the two mayors, most of the questions are not relevant. They're not the party lead, they're not leaders for any party, so I cannot ask most of the questions you're asking me to ask them. Send me relevant questions concerning their municipalities when they were there, what they do or did not do, and so forth. But you can't send me questions to ask me what they will do for the country. They're not leaders of any country. So that's what I have to tell you all. Mr. Mayor Narayan, when you were in office, Mr. Narayan, when President Granger was building that stadium at Durban Park, am I right?
No, I wasn't in office.
When it was built?
That was built during 2015 to in when David Granger took office, that started to build. And I took office in 2019. General election was 2020. So it happened during a period with the then mayor before me, my predecessor, which is Chase Green.
Right. Now, if you travel to the Caribbean countries, Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, and other small countries, When they gained independence, the place where the national flags were lowered, where the Union Jack, the British flag was lowered, and the national flags went up. If you go to these countries in Trinidad, they call it Independence Square. Jamaica, they call it Independence Independence Square, whatever they call it, Independence, whatever. And they have the history there where the flags drip across two aluminum poles with lights in the air and so forth. Independence Square, Independence Park, and so forth. Barnum started a national park when remember the flags were lowered at the national park. Do you think it was going to be wise for Mr. Granger to expand the national park and create something like what the rest of the Caribbean countries have? Call it Independence Park, Independence Square, whatever you want to call it, rather than building that thing, which is now SORI. Do you think that was the wise investment on the part of Mr. Granger?
Well, I wouldn't divulge in that there, but I can and could justify why it was built there. Because the Independent Arch is right opposite the park. The Independent Arch on Brick Dam, at the head of Brick Dam, where coffee is, and the park is right there. It is to bring the gap between the Independent Arch with the huge pole for the Guyana flag, right? That was the vision, right? And let me expand a little there. The Durban Park, the way you see it there right now, that was a temporary building with the wood and so on. There was a modern design to put up proper shed and all these things, but it never materialized. And like Ardell said, that the time was limited. The government was only 3 years. Then you had the no confidence motion in 2018, right? So when people want to judge up new AFC government under David Granger, I believe David Granger did a fair job without any corruption and crime within his government, unlike what we see in the PPP today. And we cannot judge a 5-year government to 23-year and now the PPP come back. And you see, these are things that people need to, I'm not saying our people are not educated, they're educated, but they need to read and analyze things more. Because when PPP came back or took office in 2020, they had a big oil deal, right? They're getting oil resources, so they have access to all these monies while they're taking over $30 billion US in loans, right? And we don't know where our resources money goes on to now. So Durban Park was a park to bring Independent Arch, the park and everything with the flag and have it there. So I believe that was the idea of the then President David Granger, a man that I have great respect for, who served this country very with integrity. I can say that without fear of contradiction. And I want to add something more, Dr. Roos. The question that you asked Ms. Arndell, how you will judge the opposition. I will say this to you. I had the same feelings with Arndell when it comes to the opposition is not doing much. But coming down to the election, when the election date had announced, and you see all these crossovers, it was telling me something. These things didn't happen overnight, you know. These things was planned before. So they themselves undermine the opposition, right? And I made it very clear earlier, they undermine the opposition. They undermine the leader of the party. And these are things we must take in context. We must not push it out of context, right? And blame an individual alone. They helped to break the opposition hands and feet when they're supposed to build and brace the opposition in parliament. So I will say all of this here is a part of being traitors to your own party that place you there, give you recognition, and give you that kind of exposure to help develop this country.
Again, well said by both of you. Now, my next question is this. We have just under 4 weeks for these elections. The PP has been having rallies all over the place. APNA is having a rally here, another week of rally. I don't think APNA had more than 2 or 3 rallies, where PP had about 5 or 6, and they're having more. How APNA's policies are getting out to the people? What campaign strategies are they using? Of course, the PP got the media. I see them all in all of the papers. I see them NCN announcing. I see them Chronicle. They have the media behind them. Plus, they're putting things in the private papers as well, which I'm assuming APNU don't have the money to do those things. But I'm also saying that APNU had 5 years to raise enough money, but they didn't. I don't know for what reason. So that said, how do you think APNU's strategies are or policies are reaching the people? What campaign strategies are they using?
I can say this, Dr. Rose, that I know for a fact that they have different team in the fields, which commonly people call it grassroots politics. The campaign, the rallies going on. And I can say you rightfully said that APNU does not have that kind of money or resources like the PVP because for example, if you look at this year budget, over $1 trillion, and where are those money at this point of time? Where are those programs at this point of time? Those money of using state funds using for campaign at this point of time, right? They're using it for campaign at this point of time. All the public media, NCN, DPI, Chronicle, they have access to it. That does not give the opposition a slate or anything with government. And you may not know this, every TV channel and radio station in this country has to give the government of a day of an hour, right? So they have full access to those things, full access to those things. So while the opposition is suppressed, but it clearly to show that the opposition does not or do not have the money to buy votes or to buy people like what the PVP is doing at this point of time, right? We are running a clean campaign, and that is what the people need to recognize. That's why to date, the Attorney General, Mr. Nandalal, cannot carry a bill to Parliament to declare political party funding in this country, where political party get their monies. APNU can tell you where they get their monies from, though, right? To date, the Attorney General can't do that. And I dare him to speak on this matter. Why he didn't do that, right? Because the PVP involved in massive corruption in this country in terms of state resources. And to add, if the PPP ministers and government officials to bring them money from the foreign banks that they have the money, it may build a bridge from Guyana to Trinidad, right? It may build a bridge from Guyana to Trinidad. And I'm telling you this, the amount of bank account that PPP officials, ministers of government got overseas. A question was asked only yesterday by one of my Chinese friends who is from China to ask the vice president, and it's a question, it's not an accusation, how if he have an account in China, right? And he should come out because they are within, I have Chinese friend, they're from China, they're doing business here. And Bharat Jagdeo is having a very close connection with the Chinese, right? Up to today, he was on a radio station, AG 97 or something. I can't recall the radio station. And he was speaking extensively about the Chinese relationship in Guyana, right? He should come out and tell this public if he really got an account in China, the vice president, right? And I call upon him, the public want to know if he have any, and beside of that, if he has any other account in any other country except Guyana, right? He must declare it to the citizens. The same goes to the President Ali. The president must declare if he has any bank account in any part of this world, in any other country except Guyana. The people must know when the Barajagdeo want to speak on scrutiny of candidates in this country, he must come clean first. He must come to the public and tell us how many accounts he have. This is not personal, but this is running for public office in this country with more than 6 natural resources, and yet our people is punishing. They're studying where the next meal is coming from. So the president and PPP officials to come to the public, tell us where your bank accounts are. Tell us if you have bank account in India, China, what part of this world. Tell us, we want to know, and give us the reason why.
Okay, that's a challenge throw to them. Someone might be listening and respond to you by tomorrow, saying that they don't have no bank accounts, foreign bank accounts. So we don't know that for sure. Banking is something personal, and I don't think anyone will tell you where they have a bank account. Now, the cash grants, Mr. Rendell, is it working? Did it boost the economy in Linden for the short period of time, the $100,000 cash grant?
So the issue with money in this country is our government's lack of ability to manage the way in which price is being allocated for services and for items. If we can't manage that, it doesn't matter what you give us on the ground, it wouldn't work out. And I'll tell you why. As soon as a cash grant is mentioned in this country to be distributed, the prices go up. If that continues to happen, then we don't feel the finances in our hand. We might think we're helping someone, but we're not. And I think that's the problem with the cash grants. I have no issues with the cash grants. I have no issue with the government deciding to support its citizens in terms of cash grants, whether it's monthly, or support school children in terms of a cash grant for the school year. The issue becomes if we cannot control the price on the market, then you're not helping us at all. So what we need is price control. If we have price control, then we can say to our people that I'm giving you something, and that something is going to be worth something because the prices remain the same on the market. So that's what the problem is. No price control, then you don't feel it in your hand at all.
So, but do you think the government should give us another cash grant before the election?
I think we need to stop sharing out money randomly around the place, but that's my personal view. Others might disagree with me. Because my question is, who is coming up with how much should be given? Who gets what? How does that affect the overall budgeting of the country? Where does the money come from to give that? How does that affect finances? I am worried that we are not looking at Venezuela. We're not studying Venezuela. Venezuela was once an oil-rich country. Who's studying what happened there and what has caused them to be where they are now? Where did they go wrong? And they need to be a study of that, so we'll know when we start to distribute monies and when we start to do things, we're doing it in a sustainable way, because the generation after us need to be able to benefit after the oil is finished in this country. So I have no issue with the cash grant. I just need to know that people should have a plan on how they're giving it out and how it affects us in the long run.
Mr. Narayan, we have Mr. Mohammed, who has been sanctioned by the US government, and he decided to launch a campaign to run for the presidency. And he's a presidential candidate for his party, WIN, which is We Invest in Nationhood. And he seems to be attracting large crowds. We can't deny that. But crowds don't translate or convert into votes, actually. But we don't know. This is a new phenomenon. We political scientists will have to study, because I have never seen this, and others have never seen this in Guyana before. My question to you, Mr. Narayan, why this is happening? Why is it attracting such large audiences?
I the Mr. Mohammed, Azuddin Mohammed, and myself, friends since I was mayor. In the mayor's office, when his sanction came out and so on, I did issue statement and so on for against it and justify as the mayor, and that statement is in public domain. However, I've been to a few charitable trip with Mr. Mohammed, which I pictures out there, published on my social media platform, and so forth. But I was approached and to be a part of his political party, and
That's
I do
news.
have the
That's news.
and I had approached to be a part of his political party, and I do have the agreement here.
Folks, you're hearing it here for the first time. GlobeSpan is bringing
And
Mr. Mohammed approached the former mayor to be part of his
yeah,
win, part of
and
win.
I did send off a letter after consideration of my political party, which I am a part of. And I did send off a letter on July 4th, 2025 to Miss Hannah Mohammed, which I believe is his sister, who
Right.
engaged me as well. And I said, look, I firmly believe, I extend my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to engage both you and Mr. Charles Sugrim of the WIN Party. It was truly a privilege to learn more about your vision and the values that WIN represents. After careful reflection, I have decided to continue my journey as a member of the People's National Congress Reform. Nevertheless, I hold the highest respect for you and your team and WIN, which is your political party, every success in the upcoming election. That is not the only political party approached me. The 30th of June 2025, I sent off a letter to Ms. Walton Desir, which is Amanza. Same thing. I said after much reflection, I have decided to remain a member of the PNC party, which I have been offered the prime ministerial candidate for Forward Guyana.
You're
I
offered the
declined
prime
that.
ministerial candidate for Forward
Yes,
Guyana.
Forward
Folks,
Guyana.
it's the GlobeSpan always have breaking news. You're hearing it here for the
And
first time.
and also the AFC approached me as well. I sent off a letter on the 10th of June 2025 to the members of the Alliance for Change, and I said to them I was offered for a prime ministerial position, and then we had discussion again, and I was
Prime
offered the
Minister
vice.
in the AFC as well?
Yeah, prime ministerial position I was offered, and after discussion and so forth, we have moved to the vice president position. And again, after reflection, and I have a very high connection with the PNC, I said, look, I will remain a member of the People's National Congress Reform. So I do have all the records. Entire agreement was drafted and sent both sides between these parties and so on. And look, I don't believe to fight, people fight. For WIN, I don't believe, I consider all this thing. I have great respect for the Mohammeds, what they do for the Guyanese people, charitable work and so on. But I don't believe as a political leader to get in a family fight with a government. I believe political party ought to have structures, ought to have a constitution, and you must have a Congress to elect your office bearers. And I don't want to be in a position when I have to act. I have to act on instruction because you're a part of this party and I have to take that. I don't want to be in such a mix-up, and that I encourage my Guyanese people to think carefully what they're doing with their votes. And I stick with the PNC. because I believe the PNC, the policies and the democratic value within the party, I will stand by those until I don't know what the future holds. But I must make it very clear, and I made it clear in an editorial, I will never join the PPP. Bharat had an exchange with me on that on one of his press conference, which is blatant lies. I have no interest of joining the PPP. I believe it's a communist party. I believe the party is a clique, a cabal, which will always suppress the Indian, and let me be specific, the Indian Guyanese, the Indo-Guyanese in this country, to run to them with the bowls. And my Indian people, my Indo-Guyanese need to think out of the box. This thing is not about Indian. This thing is not about black. This thing is not about white and yellow. This thing about policies which will benefit you and your children in the future to come. And the PPP have a tendency where they hold the Indians ransom in this party. Many Indians reach out to me, doctors and viewers. Many Indians reach out to me every day, complain bitterly about this government, but they're afraid to come forward because the neighbor is PPP. The chairman lives next to them, and they will be victimized by these supporters of the PPP. So I know for a fact that the disgruntled with the Indian in this country, it is there, and you'll see reflection, especially when you comes to the Hindus of this country. I'm speaking of the priests here. Hindus have been marginalized by the Irfan Ali-led government in this country. And I have no apology to make for that. I made a statement in 2022. I was taken to court by this government, and I've won that case when I made a mention and I asked a question: if this country will become a Muslim state, Mr. President, is a question I asked, deserve an answer. I was taken before the court. I won that case. The entire case was dismissed from the court of law. So the Hindus in this country have been marginalized for the past 5 years. Not like Granger administration. Granger had established a core group to hear the Christian, the Muslim, the Hindus. Resources was challenged through those core group, not an organization alone, not a body alone, not an individual alone, like this government is doing. They disrespect Hindus in this country and marginalize Hindus in this country. I can't speak on any other religion, but as a Hindu priest and being out there as a practicing priest, being out there, this is what told to me by even the PVP supporters. So I have no fear of saying these things. I have no apology to make. Win got their job to do, but I appeal to the public to know what they're doing with their vote. I wouldn't get in any family issue who want to challenge the PPP, who was a part of the PPP, who had funded the PPP in the 2020 election, and who have gained from the PPP, and because of a fallout, now you're running for government. I have considered all of this here. I've think through it, and I wish them good luck.
Folks, let me just go to a quick commercial break. We just had a dip in power here. I'm sorry about that, but this is part of the kind of process. There's always a power blackout or something to sort. So I was off here for a few minutes there. Well, maybe 2 minutes or so. All from one supplier. One is a number.com, where you can purchase all your West Indian food and groceries, the roti, the curry, the chicken, you name it, whatever meat you want. And we have home deliveries to you as well. You can use your EBT credit or debit cards. We're located at 10809 Liberty Avenue in Richmond Hill. The phone number is 718-551-3292. All from one supplier. You can order everything, your food, your groceries, your everything. Then we come to GlobeSpan, more than 30 years in service. And they have all the experience to address all your traveling needs. So just call GlobeSpan. You have any traveling problems, call them. They have upcoming tours to Dubai, India, South Africa, and Norway. So, and other locations too. You can call them at 718-845-0437. That's New York. Georgetown, 227-1701. Rosal Tongue on the quarantine, 337-4287. And they have offices in Trinidad as well. Shaguda, 665-3383. That's 665-3383. And in Val Park in Trinidad, 645-1609. Ms. Arindel, were you approached by any political party to join them apart from Ms. Amanda Wall, Forward Guyana?
I was not approached by any party to join anyone. I chose to join Amanzo.
Okay, that's good news. And Mr. Narayan, I think you were offered the High Commissioner post to India at one time by this government.
That was a discussion that when Jagdeo denied it, and that meeting, I believe, took place a couple years ago or a year or so. And so I didn't pay much attention to it. It was in talking. But again, Dr. Rose, I will serve this country and serve the people of this country. I would never, ever join the PPP upon the policy they are doing people in this country. They are suffering people. They're actually taking a string and put it around your neck. Let me use the Creolese, right? And hold it as a puppet. And when you can't dance to them, they pull the string a little bit more and break your neck, right? You have to dance to these people, and you have to dance to their tune. Well, I'm not prepared to do that. I rather go to jail fighting for people's rights. I did it once and I would do it again, right? So human rights are important in this country. Human development are important in this country. And you can't speak on infrastructure. And rightfully, my colleague Angel said that the roads are not first-class roads. These are, look at the Heroes Highway. You have the state of Secretary of State came here, went to Suriname and pronounced on the roads of Guyana, right? Look at the repairing happening every day on the Heroes Highway. It's madness. Taxpayer dollars. We cannot have a government continue to do such. We're over 30 billion US dollars in loan. So Bar Jagdeo need to get himself right, man. He need to come clean. And that's why I talk about the bank account. He say you want to scrutinize these leaders and candidates. The people that call upon both of them and PPP officials, declare your accounts. Whether you have accounts in other countries, we want to know, right? The country want to know that. It's nothing personal when you run for public office, because there is a commission called the Integrity Commission, where you have to declare all your accounts and assets and everything. I don't know if the president and the vice president and other ministers of this government made such a declaration. We have to hold leaders accountable in this country, right? We have to, and if we don't, we will suffer, all suffer. And I will be very clear again. Take example from Venezuela. What Venezuela is happening in Venezuela today. It can happen here next couple of years. I'm not against the bridge toll again, right? But there's any study have been done on that? How you managing this bridge? The bridge is a corporation body. They have to depend on government subvention. The municipalities suffer. The government met with them. They had consultation. Will the government give them a subsidy on that? I guess out of the air, the government will lose closely to over $60 million per day when it comes to the bridge tolls. I am not against it. It's a good idea. The Guyanese people must enjoy the benefit of their natural resources, but do things with strategic planning and with proper comprehensive studies so that it will be there to reflect in the records of this country. Don't go on a stage and just say it because you're in government. We must know how this country is managing at this point of time and in the future to come.
Do you believe in giving out cash grants?
Cash grants is something I had made my comment on. I believe poor planning again. By giving $100,000 to an individual, would not benefit that individual in a big way. But if you set up trust fund, if you set up a policy and proper planning for that individuals, like my article I wrote last week, my column in Village Voice said, give shares to the employees of Gael. So the people in Gael land serving employees will benefit. Who come now will benefit, right? And I list out a few things. Same way we can able to have the Guyanese people can have shares. Look at Suriname are setting up a policy and a unit where the people of Suriname can have shares and have say in these oil companies. Why not do the same for Guyanese so that before you have to give them 100,000 a year, every 3 months they can able to have $300,000-400,000 in their bank account, right? But again, our people, they're not thinking right. I'm not saying they're not educated, but I believe they get carried away with this kind of vibes, political vibes, and the political energy. Think of policies. PAYE should be abundant in this country. That's my personal view. They already paying a tax of 14% on everything in the supermarket. The food that you go and buy out there, you're paying 14%. Why the workers of this country must pay an additional tax as PAYE? Nonsense, Dr. Rose. We cannot afford it.
Starting from mid-August, I think we'll be broadcasting live every night. So I think I will have to get you all back sometime. So we have come to the end of the program tonight. It was very, very good. Very, very, everyone say what I had to say, and I think it was very interesting. So, Mr. Nari, with that said, I'll ask you, Beer, to give your closing remarks.
Well, again, Dr. Rose, I want to thank you and your team to have me on your program. I want to thank the viewers. Let us all work together to build Guyana a better place for our children and future. And I want to encourage everyone out there, especially Guyanese and who are coming home to vote, make your right choice and place your X next to the palm. I thank you very much.
Ms. Arindel or Mayor Arindel?
So it is always an honor to be on this program with you guys. I think this is like our third time together. So I thank you once again for still trying to pull me back into this political conversation.
I will always try to do
that. Give me some time to breathe off the old and maybe get back in with the new. So this election has all of us in the jitters because we've never seen such dynamics before. The Win Party has made their mark. Forward Guyana has made their mark. And I believe there's a third party, ALF. I'm not hearing much about, so I'm guessing that she's not competing in Linden and Region 10. But we now have at least 5 to 6 parties managing, running for election. It's going to be a bumpy ride. What I'd suggest to people, really think about it. Think about what you want. Think about what you've been receiving. Think about where you want Guyana to be. We cannot continue to think about self, about what I will get and how I will improve, but how overall Guyana will improve, how overall our generation after us will be able to benefit. And when you think about that, then you're able to make the right decision on who you're going to vote for. So all the best for elections, and make sure you guys vote right.
No, I'll get you back before because we'll be broadcasting every night starting in the middle of the month.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to get as many guests as possible. So once again, I must thank both Mayor Rendell from Linden, this country's second largest city, Mayor Ryan from Georgetown, the nation's largest city. We want to thank all our sponsors, all our listeners, and most importantly, Mr. Noir Singh for making this program available, and Mr. Devin Bissoon and Ryan Gobain, our 2 technical directors. I want to say this before I go, and I said it last week, but I want to get to the right people. If you want a permit to keep a social function in your home or to center or something of the sort, you have to go through so many hurdles, which is completely backward. You have to go through, yeah, first you have to go to the NDC in your district. They have to give you an acceptance letter. Then with that letter, you take it to the EPA. All this is money you're paying out. Then the NDC thing charges 2,000, the EPA charges 5 to determine if your music is going to be too loud and so forth. Then from that, you go to the fire station for them to come and inspect what we have. In our case, we had a function. We have it in an open pavilion. And we told the fire people there's no houses there, but they say, yes, we still have to come and inspect. So we're going to burn earth and destroy somebody. Then after that, it goes to the police station in your district. In our case, we went to number 51 police station, where you spend a week or two. Then you go to Springlands police station, another week or two. Then it comes to New Amsterdam, another week or two. Then after New Amsterdam sign off to it, the commander, it goes to a magistrate. She has to sign off on it. All these are fees you're paying along the line. The most fees you're paying is for the police. They want to charge you $8,000 a day for each police officer. They said they will send 4 police officers there, that's 32,000, plus a sergeant or an inspector, 12,000. That's $44,000 coming out of your pocket just for the police alone. An extra 20,000 coming out to pay all those small groups, all those other groups. So before you could have a function, you're spending about $65,000. This is backward. This is beyond. I can understand you go to the police.
We did spoke about all of those things, Dr. Rose.
Pardon me?
We did spoke about all those things years ago when myself as May and so on been on this program. It's a backward system. It's ridiculous.
And nobody seemed to correct this nonsense. What the EPA never comes out there to check no sound system at nights. No one from the EPA never comes to our function. And we've been having function for the past 4 years. No one came. When the police officers came, they spent an hour and they're gone. The firemen never came there.
Far more the EPA, I don't believe interested in anything in this country but the oil sector. The EPA is a waste of time. That's my clear statement.
The volume of the music. And they never showed up.
There's so many issues affecting this country and in the city right now with EPA. And you don't see EPA officers around, right? EPA is a waste of time. They're all interested in the oil rig out there.
But the question, Mayor, is where are the policies that manage all of this? Because I remember the invention of the ease of doing business that we had started. Where is that? Because you should have been at one place where all of this is done, one document is signed, and an overall payment. And if police are being paid daily to do something,
why it has to go to magistrate? What the magistrate has to do with a function?
I believe if you have the NDC and the municipality for that area, as long as you have been given a letter from them, that should be enough to hold your function, because a municipality, the police are supposed to be there, right? If I'm correct,
but that is why you need local governance to be independent of national government. So when you walk into my town and I say this is what is done, no police, no lawyer, nobody.
No law can't say anything.
We fixed that.
No,
so
the
that's
EPA
why
got saying in it, but it's ridiculous. It's red tape, procrastinate.
Devin, we still on air? Devin?
Yes, Dr. Rose, we're still live.
Okay. So I just want to say this finally. This is being beyond ridiculous. You got to go through 6 different groups, and none of these people show up at your function. None of them. The police will show up, spend an hour, and they're gone. And we got to pay them $8,000 for the day. I don't think the police makes $8,000 a day at a regular job. But why you have to pay them that? It goes to 2 police stations, 51 and Skeldon in our group of the quarantine. Then it comes back to New Amsterdam. Then when the commander signs it, it goes to magistrate. Can you believe this foolishness? I want those who have ears to hear, let them hear and correct that nonsense. It has to stop. You're putting people through this whole thing for nothing. How backward are we going to be? First, as I said, NDC. Second, EPA. Third, fire people. Fourth, we got to go to the police in our district. Then you go to the police in Florida district away who controls that district. Then it comes to New Amsterdam. Then after New Amsterdam, it goes to a magistrate to sign it. How can this nation move forward with these backward policies? Anyway, thanks a lot to all our listeners and all our viewers. And thanks to our two guests here, Ms. Mayor Rindle from Linden and Mayor Narayan from Georgetown, and to Mr. Noir Singh again and Mr. Devin Bisoon and Ryan Gobin. Thank you all and have a pleasant good night. Thanks.
Thank you.